Schizo Jits here. Recap UFC 282. Pretty good card, even though like I wasn't the most excited about this card. I can't lie because I mean after they lost Glover versus Yuri and a couple other fights fell through, it really was like Robbie Lawler. I was looking forward to him and Ponzinibbio. That was gonna be a good one. That fell through, so I wasn't the most excited about this card. But actually, the first 10 fights delivered. I mean, they were all finishes. It was the co-main and the main where that's where they weren't the most exciting fights, and also they had some controversy in both of them. So we'll talk Paddy first. Paddy the Baddie against Jared Gordon, Flash Gordon. Was a good fight. I mean, first round, I mean, Jared came out, I mean, and I got to say he looked great. I mean, was Paddy robbed? Was his the decision of robbery in the favor for Paddy? Everyone, the general consensus, everyone thinks it was a robbery for sure. I mean, it was a close fight. I remember watching it live. I thought first and second round were Gordon. Third round, well, second round actually I thought might have been the one that you could have scored for Paddy. First round I thought was Gordon because he was landing that left hook over and over and popping Paddy's head back and got a takedown at the end of the round. Towards the end, held him down for a bit. Paddy had a tough time getting up. So that was a that I think the first round was a little bit. I still think it was in Jared's favor. Like I seen the Weasels breakdown where like he tallies up all the strikes that landed from both fighters in the fights, and it was really close. It was only a couple of strikes here and there, but I just felt like with the takedown and Jared landing a couple harder shots, to Paddy, yeah, I think he probably took that first round. Second round, that was the one where watching live. Even I thought Paddy probably could have took that one because he landed a few more shots in that round, a couple heavy shots. Third round, not a lot happened, and this is where like in the post-fight press conference, Dana was really critical on Jared Gordon's on his approach and his game plan for that third round, his strategy, because for I would say definitely more than half the round, like 3 minutes of the round. I remember even watching it with my wife. I was like, "What's going on here? Break these guys up." They're basically Gordon was holding Paddy against the cage so he had a lot of control time that round for more than half the round. But as we know now, and the argument for Paddy's bringing and just kind of the way they score fights now is a little different. Now they're going for more damage trumps all. So even if it is you know a controlled time, Randy Couture type situation where there's holding you up in the cage and dirty boxing you and doing all that. If there's not a lot of damage done, then it doesn't mean as much. And Paddy was landing some harder shots that round. I still don't know the numbers on that final round as far as strike count. The first two were close. So, I mean, robbery, I mean, I've seen worse fights. I think for sure Jared Gordon won that fight. I was thinking that, like I said, when I first seen it, I felt for sure, Jared won this fight. It was like, damn, that's Paddy's first loss. Then when they read the decision, I was like, "What the fuck?" First thing I was thinking was robbery. No way. There's no way he won that fight. But I mean, when you look at all the strike counts and totals and damage done, I mean, it just depends on what these judges are looking for. If damage truly trumps all, I mean, is like how are they measuring that? That's the one question I have. Are they measuring damage by like cosmetic, like how it looks, like who's busted up, who's got cuts and bruises? Are they looking at damage just physical, like reaction to strikes landing from the fighters? I mean, so it still is a judgment call, and I don't know what exactly each judge is looking for in that or how they know. And I think they just need more experience. They need to know what is a heavy strike, what's a medium strike, what's a not just a jab or a lighter strike, leg kicks, what do they score, takedown attempts, all this stuff needs to have some type of value that we the fans can just know. All right, well that was this many points, that's that many points, because it's really hard to tally up all this. It's just a judgment call at the end of the day. Your opinion, who did more damage, what? Paddy's face looked clean at the end of the fight. Jared a little bit more busted up. Does that mean Paddy did more damage? The shots that he landed hurt more? I mean, one guy could bleed more. I mean, the Diaz brothers come into the cage and they get cut immediately. In most of their fights, they have so much scar tissue, so it doesn't take a whole lot to open up cuts. So I don't know what you guys think. Was it a robbery? I mean, I kind of think it was in some case. I mean, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, robbery, every time it's a close fight and we don't agree with the decision. But in this case, I honestly, when I first watched it, I thought it was 30-27 Gordon. But also thought that maybe the second round could go to Paddy because he seemed like he was landing a little bit better than he was in the first round. He was more on the receiving end, I thought, in the first round, even though the strike counts were really similar. And overall, Paddy landed 5 more significant strikes, or like heavy strikes, I guess, than Jared throughout the fight. But I mean, the telling fights that I seen, I mean, the telling punches and strikes in the first round were Jared popping Paddy's head back, and so I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to rewatch this fight. I haven't watched it since it was live, but when I first thought it was 30-27, so I was thinking robbery too. I go, man, that was bullshit. They're just trying to build this kid and all that. But also that maybe if he goes against tougher competition, then he's not going to make it. But honestly, that kind of takes away from Jared because Jared looked good. That was the best Gordon's looked in a while. And coming from a really good team, Henry Hooft, Ernesto Hooft, all these guys. I mean, he's got some good guys who in training, you know what I mean? So he has a really good team behind him, and he came out hungry. And I felt he looked really hungry, the best he's looked in a while. So I wouldn't want to take anything away from Jared. So that kind of does suck to be like on the receiving end of that. But it's like Dana White says, man. He hasn't, like he said, he hasn't given that speech in a long time. But you can't leave it in the hands of the judges. You got to go for it. And I get why Dana was a little pissed in that third round because Jared's acting like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Jared was confident going into the third round, thinking he won the first two, especially the first, which two of the judges gave to Paddy. And that just made no sense because there was a takedown. I mean, his head got popped back. Jared definitely landed the heavier shots in the first round, in my opinion. That was a fight I saw anyway. I mean, I'm not judging it like, oh, this counting every strike. You have to go back and watch that. But just the consensus of it, like Paddy looked like he was, he was having some problems in there the first round. So I could see how you might want to coast in the third, but also this is another thing about the open scoring thing. You know what I mean? Open scoring needs to happen, in my opinion, because these guys got to know. And if they took their foot off the gas, that's when you bring in a yellow card. And that's when you penalize them for stalling. But I mean, I'm not saying you got to go balls to the wall for 3 rounds, all gas, but you got to at least go for it in the third and not just think you're coasting to a victory. Because you never know with these judges, especially right now, because there is no open scoring. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what these guys are looking for. So, I mean, I think we need open scoring. Maybe Jared sees that. Oh, damn! It is a 1-1. At this point, it's a tied up fight going into that third. Maybe he doesn't just hold Paddy against the cage. Maybe he tries to get more takedowns. Maybe he tries to just open up a little more. I mean, so I just think this is another fight, classic case where we need that. But I don't know what you guys think. Was it a robbery? I mean, I tend to say yes in this case, just because, like I said, Jared, that was the best he looked in a while, and he definitely, like he brought it. That first 2 rounds, he brought it. First round for sure, he was all over Paddy, and Paddy the fatty, Paddy the baddie. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's next for these guys, especially for Paddy. He's gonna have to get up, obviously get stiffer competition because he's moving up in the ranks. But that was not the most impressive performance by him, and I can see why Dana was mad. Like I said, like if you're not gonna go for it in the third round, at least Paddy was trying whenever there was opportunity. But does that win you the round? Because like even if you're like he was real critical of Jared Gordon holding Paddy against the cage, but what about on the other end of that when Paddy's just his back to the cage? So I mean, both guys, yeah, they kind of shit the bed on that last fight. The last 2 fights, kind of. I mean, like there was some exciting moments, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think, yeah, that definitely Jared Gordon won that fight. There's no way Paddy won that fight in my eyes, in my opinion. But hey, the judges are gonna judge. You know what I mean? So this isn't our first time we've been here and having this conversation where what's up with these freaking scorecards. So yeah, we'll see what's up. What's next? Is the hype train over? Is he done? Are they gonna have to give him a more favorable matchup next time? I mean, this kind of was a pretty good matchup for him, on paper. But like I said, Jared did look good. He came out to fight, and he was hungry.